Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna and welcome to this ISKCON Newcastle YouTube channel video. And today I'll be giving you a few advice and few tips on how to play a Mridanga. So I decided to do this quick video following the two tutorial videos that we uploaded in the last couple of weeks. If you haven't seen those videos, I highly recommend to watch those videos. And while you're watching those videos, please subscribe to the ISKCON Newcastle YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell to get notified when we upload videos. We usually do that every Saturday at 9 AM. Please like the video and comment down below if you have any queries regarding playing Mridanga, regarding posture, anything. Just feel free to comment down below. So I'll be referring to my Surface tablet here, so please excuse me if I look down a few times. So just getting reminded on the advice and tips that I've written down. So the first tip that I always tell everyone, regardless of how how they play the Mridanga, is practice makes perfect. This is the most important advice I can give to anyone who wants to play Mridanga, who is learning Mridanga, because you cannot just take the Mridanga and start playing. You can't do that. You have to practice your way. The two tutorial beats that I uploaded a couple of weeks ago, they're sort of the basics, and then you have to practice your way through all the beats in order to play during kirtans, during festivals. So practice always makes perfect. That's the most important advice that I can give. The second advice is practice is a virtue. Now for me personally, it's taken me 10 years, at least 10 years, to sort of play the way I am at the moment. Back in 2016 and even earlier, I used to just know the basic beats and that's it. I'll just play the fast beat that I uploaded a couple of weeks ago, and then the medium beat, but that is all I knew. I didn't know any variations. I didn't know any sort of tricks. One of the trick is this. This is what we call the whoop. So it's basically sliding down, but I didn't know any of that. So I had to practice my way through, but also make sure that I have the patience to do it, because it doesn't come overnight. It takes time, it takes effort. So patience is always a virtue. And I would say it's also as important as practice makes perfect. The third advice and tip is, it's a little bit of a disturbing tip, but bleeding from your hands is actually very good. Now that is because your fingers, especially your skin, is getting used to the surface of the Mridanga, the material of the Mridanga. And what's happening is your skin starts to get a little bit harder, and so you're able to then hit the Mridanga without feeling any pain or without getting uncomfortable. So 9 times out of 10, when you start playing the Mridanga, your skin is always soft. It's always very smooth, soft, and that's the perfect recipe for sort of your skin coming off and starting to bleed when you use the Mridanga for the first time. So do not worry if your hands, or especially your fingers, and especially your index finger, because your index finger is most of the times playing this na beat, and this is where the worst sort of bleeding will occur. So do not worry if there's any bleeding. It's just that your skin is slowly getting used to the surface of the Mridanga, the way you play it. Do not worry about bleeding. It's just a step towards your hands getting comfortable with your Mridanga. The next tip is a very overlooked tip, is learn the basics first before learning any variations. Now I mentioned in the two tutorial videos that there's so many variations to both the fast beats and the medium beat or Prabhupada beat. And because there's so many variations, you need to first know the basics of it. You need to know how to play the basics and then slowly develop. It's just that a 10-year-old school kid cannot go straight to university. The kid has to go through all the stages of Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2, 6th form, all the way up to university. Because that's how the kids will learn the basics. Same way with the Mridanga, you can't just go straight into the advanced beats. It doesn't work like that. You won't learn anything and you won't be able to play well. You have to learn the basics first. The next tip, it's a very important tip, but again sort of gets overlooked at, is the correct size and shape of the Mridanga and the material of the Mridanga. That's a very important point, because usually the best Mridangas are made out of clay. If you ever get a chance to go to Vrindavan or Mayapur, or even if you come down to ISKCON Newcastle temple, if you go to any other temples in the UK, in Birmingham, in London, in Manchester, in Glasgow, Karunabhavan, you'll see that all the Mridangas they have are made out of clay, because that gives the best sound, the best quality. But that also means that it's very hard on your fingers, and that is why it comes back to that bleeding. Don't worry about bleeding, it's just part of the process. But it's also good because then you can get comfortable when playing the Mridanga. This is usually the normal size for Mridanga. There are smaller ones available, but I would personally recommend going for nice regular size, which is sort of this size. Getting your hands, used to the Mridanga, the positions, and then this sort of follows on to the next tip, which is posture and wrist playing. That's why with this big Mridanga, you can sit nice and comfortably with your back straight. You can see my hands, they're nice and straight here. And this also helps with wrist playing. Now wrist playing is very important because that's how you get all the beats. So you can see how quickly my wrist goes. And if you want to get used to that wrist playing, there's a very, very basic beat that I can teach you now. This is called te, re, ke, ta. Te, re, ke, ta. This is usually the first beat that anyone would learn when learning how to play Mridanga. So the simple beat is, te is all your four fingers on the small side, not including the thumb, it's the four fingers here. Put them together, te, on this black surface. That's te. Re is your thumb at a 90-degree angle. So when you start at te, your hand should be at a 90-degree angle whilst getting that sound. Te, re, te, re, te, re. If you notice, I'm not moving my hands at all, I'm just moving my wrists. So te, re, and then ke is just your 5 fingers open up on the big side. There. And you can see my thumb is always fixed. It's just the other 4 fingers that are rotating around the thumb. Okay? So that's K. And ta is your 4 fingers on the small side, but at the edge. So how you play with the index finger, the same way you play with the 4 fingers instead. Okay? And the way you usually go about this, te, re, ke, ta, te, re, ke, ta, te, re, ke, ta, te, re, ke, ta, te, re, ke, ta. And this is usually a very good Mridanga beat for practicing or getting your wrists warmed up ahead of a kirtan. And the last 2 tips is timing is key, and playing the appropriate beats at an appropriate mood towards the kirtan. So you want to always play with the kartals, with the kirtan leader, and also play it within the according mood. So if you have to play soft in the beginning of the kirtan, there's certain beats that play soft, and then you go towards the fast beats where it gets more energetic. So those are some of the top tips and advice that I will give. Please, now, as I mentioned, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. I would highly recommend you watch the 2 tutorial videos. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Rama